Hi, it's been it's been more than a couple of days. I'm supposed to be doing these every day, and I'm slipping here. It's Monday or Tuesday here now, but I'm getting at it. Today's topic is going to be a touchy one, a sensitive one. It's on resentment, and yeah, this is me sharing my experience, strength, and hope to help awaken the collective conscience, to raise our frequency, so that we're not so enslaved by our emotions. And anyways, I'll get into it here. It's a pretty deep topic. Okay, resentments. What is resentments? It plagues us. For me, being a recovering addict in so many areas, I understand what that is, right? I understand that resentments are fuel. They're fuel, like for an addict, they're fuel. We hang on to them to justify our behavior. We hang on to them because at some point we start to identify ourselves with the fact, with that resentment, whatever it is. So yeah, it's insidious. When you think about it, whatever it was that hurt us, some of us have been hurt horribly. I don't want to downgrade whatever pain or whatever any of you have experienced. I've experienced some dysfunction. I know people have experienced a great deal more dysfunction and abuse than I ever have. But then again, our bottom and, my monster, if I believe there's a monster under my bed, it's real to me. Whether you believe it or not, it's my reality. And vice versa. When you believe something and it's your reality, it means something to you. And I'm sweating here, it's hot. It means something. So you're going to believe in it. It doesn't matter what I think or say. That's your reality. So anyways, let's get into these resentments. You get hurt, whatever it was. Some point in your life, typically these resentments, the really deep-seated ones, start when we're children. So something's happened to you when you were a child. Someone's wronged you, someone severely hurt you. It could have gone on for a long time, could have been a short time. But whatever it was, it affected you deeply enough to want to garner that resentment. Now, what I try to do when I'm talking to my brothers and sisters is to try to wake us up to the insanity of our thinking. And try to understand why we hang on to certain patterns of behavior and thinking and justify those behaviors. And resentments is one of those, right? We feel justified. It's just like, you have to have resentment. Someone hurts you, you gotta carry that resentment. But here's the bottom, the real deal, the cutting through the bullshit to the whole truth. Yes, you were hurt. Yes, I was hurt. Yes, we were hurt. But it stopped. At some point, it stopped. And when we pick up that resentment, it carries on. It doesn't stop. I know that may be hard to get your head around, but it's true. The word resentment means to remember and to relive, what it was that happened to you. So you've been hurt. It was horrible. Whatever it was horrible to you, enough to have that resentment. Whatever brings us to a point of resentment, I guarantee it was real enough to us to want to carry that resentment and to want to. But for some reason, we think in our minds, and I don't know why, but we think that by holding that resentment, somehow it brings us justice, or it brings us. I don't know. It's so hard. It's so hardwired into us to not want to let that go. But the reality is the resentments are what keep us sick. The resentments are what keep us tied to the past. See, that might have happened when you were 2, 3 years old, 5, 6 years old, or whenever it happened. It could have been yesterday. I don't know. But the whole thing is, once the pain stops, we should be moving to healing. Not resentments, because once the pain stops, we need to move to healing, to get past it, to understand what happened, if it's possible, and if not, just to let it go, and move through the pain or the healing, and focus on the healing of whatever it is that happened. Because when whatever it is that happened that caused resentment stops, and we pick that resentment up, it never stops. We relive it over and over and over and over and over again. It defines our life. It really does. It defined mine. Why are you like that? Well, you'd be like this too if, I'm sure to me, my dad was a very mean man. I mean, he was really mean. And maybe somebody else doesn't see it that way. I was a very sensitive kid. Stuff like, it's a silly thing. Okay, we were on holidays and we had some pet rabbits, right? And my dad was really old school, I guess. He left home quite early. So I don't blame him. I mean, dysfunctional people raise dysfunctional children. I mean, I can't blame him for the stuff he did, but this is what happened, right? We got home I think we were in Calgary. We were living in Chilliwack, BC at the time. And we were in Calgary visiting family, and we got back, and we're eating dinner, and Dad goes, "How was that?" We're going, "Oh, that was good." "Well, how was good, eh? Yeah." And we're going, "Well, what is it?" And he goes, "That was your rabbits." He'd cooked our rabbits and fed our rabbits as a way to toughen us up, I guess. I don't know. But it crushed me. That one incident crushed me, and it was enough to, hold resentment. And there's a myriad of other things I don't want to get into, but just an example of the things that can happen that will bring you to that resentment. And I relived that. I didn't let that go. I didn't forgive him. And I carried that around, and it destroyed me. You get to a point where you're so full of resentment and anger that, for me, I resorted to drugs and alcohol. They became my solution. A lot of people think that for an addict, an alcoholic, drugs and alcohol are the problem. They're not. They're our solution. Because, when you grow up in a dysfunctional home, you're not taught the skills to deal with everyday life. I don't even know if homes that aren't, I think if a home teaches you that making a mistake is bad, that's a dysfunctional environment, because we learn by making mistakes. And the home I was just, mistakes were frowned upon. You had to, it was just nasty. Anyways, enough to cause resentments. I don't have them anymore. I let them go. It set me free. And I guess what I'm trying to say to you is, as much as you don't want to, and I mean, the choice is yours. It really is. It's mine. It's yours. The choice is ours. But to hang on to resentment is pretty much like you're doing it to yourself now. Someone else outside you hurts you, and now you're doing it to yourself. Because every time you relive it, it's you that's doing it now. It's not the person that originally did it to you. It's you. It's so bizarre when you step back and look at this thing. Is when I relive that resentment and I carry it around, I'm hurting myself. I'm reliving it. Now it's me. I have become the villain in my own story by holding that resentment. I know it's hard to get your head around that, but that's the reality of it. Until we let go of that resentment, we won't see freedom. Focus on the healing. Hurt people hurt. Most people that molest or hurt or abuse, they're victims of abuse. 90%, I don't know, maybe it's 99%, but it's a large percentage of attackers and abusers and people that hurt other people are victims of the very same violence or something similar. And they grew up in dysfunctional homes and didn't know how to deal with it. I mean, I did some horrible things. I've done some horrible things. It's cost me my family. And I could live in the shame of that, but I don't. I understand that what I went through is what I went through, and it made me become the person I was. I changed that behavior. I'm not that man anymore. But I understand what brought me to that point. And I understand it was things like resentments and anger. And as we'll go on, and I'll try and keep this talk shorter, right? Because the other one was pretty long. I actually did this talk yesterday, and it was 24 minutes. And I went to listen to it, and I forgot to turn the mic on. So, some stuff like that happens. It's meant to be. Maybe I thought it was a good talk, but obviously, Father didn't think it was. So he made me forget to turn. Anyways, everything happens for a reason. I'm not a victim. Life is happening for me, not to me. When I let go of my resentments, I achieve my freedom. I walk out of that prison cell that I put myself in with my abuser. And I leave him in there. And I go about my merry way. It's just like the same thing with when you carry anger around. Right? Just like it doesn't do you any good. It doesn't solve anything. The resentments will never heal you. They will keep you sick. The resentments will keep you sick. And whatever belief system that got you to the point that thinks that somehow resentments are going to heal you is a fallacy. They will make you sicker. They were one of the things that kept me sick the most. Right? I want to talk here. The next talk is going to be on self-love and how we shame ourselves. But anyways, that's going to be the next talk. I don't know if I got deep enough on the resentments. There's really not much, it's a touchy subject, but the bottom line is resentments are a choice. If you choose to hang on to them and nurture them and let them simmer, I hurt. We hurt. Our abusers never feel a thing. They could die and then we'll still carry that resentment. It's bizarre how we think. But all it takes is a sea change in thinking. Look in the mirror and go, is that resentment really worth it? Do I want my life to resolve around an incident that happened, a horrible incident that was horrible to me? Do I want my life to revolve around that? Or do you want to move past that? A lot of times, a way to move past that is to forgive your abuser. And that's really hard. It is so hard. But you don't have to do it alone. When it comes time to forgiveness, I had an incident that happened and it built a great resentment. I actually wanted to kill this individual. It was early in the program. I think it was 3 years clean, and I had somebody do some work for me on it. Anyways, it was a disaster. And I couldn't work. I was going broke because Buddy had my vehicle and he was taking forever to do it. And he originally told me the job was going to cost, $3,500. And it would be done in 2 to 3 weeks. Anyways, 3 months, it's still not done. Anyways, as you can imagine, right? I'm stewing and the resentments are building and the anger's building. And I'm adding up, okay, I'm missing work because I'm a contract welder, so he had my welding truck. And it was dollar signs, so I'm losing. So I calculated out by the end of 3 months and I finally got my truck back. He owed me money, because I was like, well, this is lost wages. You said, anyways, it doesn't matter, right? I had enough fuel to just get this resentment fire burning. And I did. I got her burning, and and he gave me this bill, and he said $3,500 to get this bill, and it's like $9,000. And I'm like, what? I was so angry. I have a smile on my face now, but there was no smile back then. I was so twisted, and I went inside, and I got, when you get into those, those resentment and anger, it's like I wanted to kill this guy. I wanted to kill him. And I would have, but I started praying for him because that's what God told me to do. It was eating me up so bad it was destroying me. And I wasn't very spiritual anymore. I I was a sick. When you carry that stuff, it comes out sideways, right? It comes out sideways. I was behaving extremely poorly. I was angry. I was raging. All because of this. All because of this. Because I chose to invest in resentment and anger, and thinking that would solve the problem, but it didn't solve the problem. You know, he ended up coming because I'm like, I'm not paying you this money, so he ended up coming and repossessing that truck. So on top of all that, I paid him $3,500. Like I gave him the $3,500, or $3,500 or $4,000. I'd given him $4,000, and which was more than what we originally. And then in the end, he came and repossessed the truck, and he was nice enough to let me take my welder off the truck, but he took the truck back. So it was like, it was the worst scenario you could ever imagine, and so much justification for me to be angry, and it was. But when I entered into the place of forgiveness and acceptance, it's because like it was done. I couldn't, even talking to him would have made no difference, because I don't know if he even realized, he would justify it, and I'm sure he would have justified it however way he could have. And what does it matter? I had to get to a point of acceptance, or I would have been destroyed. What happened. I couldn't change it. All the anger, all the resentment wouldn't bring that truck back. It was a piece of junk anyways. But anyways, it got me out of welding. I wasn't running a portable welder anymore, which was good, because it was keeping me away from home, and I didn't like that very much either. But I had to let go of the resentments. Resentments are poison. Resentments are poison. What's that saying? It's like drinking poison expecting the other person to die, right? You're just seething, and you know who dies? Us. Spiritually, physically, it'll kill us. And all because of what someone else did to us, and because we didn't stop it when it ended. Right? Stop it when it ends. It's so hard. It's so hard to do. And I know what I'm saying, and the words that are coming out of my mouth are really hard, but it's the path forward. For me, it was. If you can find another way, that's awesome. And I pray and hope it works for you. But for me, that's what it took to work. I had to let go of that resentment. I had to let it go. I had to smash it. I had to embrace forgiveness and love, and see my brother as making a mistake that affected me, but I'd made so many mistakes that affected others. So I have to give him the same courtesy that I would give myself. Like I say, whenever we're dealing with these situations, let's get down and say, Father, help me to see my brother as I see myself. May my peace be yours, and may this help. Till the next one. Next one's on, what did I say? Shame, guilt, and remorse. Love, self-love. That's what it is. Okay, until then, the next one's self-love.